Okay. Everyone got their burps out? What's good, everybody? Welcome to the special edition of the What's Good Games podcast. I'm Andrea Renee, joined by Alexa Ray Correa.
Woo!
Christine Steimer.
Hi.
And Brittany Brombacher.
Hello.
Ladies, we turned 21 this week.
Oh my
we
god.
can legally drink.
Isn't that exciting? 21 episodes of What's Good Games.
Damn, Gina.
Damn. Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Who is Gina, by the way?
My mother.
It's from a movie. Also your
Factual.
mother.
Also your mom.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, who are listening, who are watching on YouTube. We wouldn't get to 21 without your support. We appreciate and love you guys. You guys are the best community a group of girls could ever ask for. And to make sure that you know how much we love you, we've decided to dedicate a giant part of this episode to answering your questions. So we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But we want to let you know that we won't be reading our Turbo Patrons shout-outs this week because we are recording this early, since both Alexa Ray and I will be in New York when this episode launches. Please don't forget to tune into the Nintendo World Championships 2017 on Saturday, October 7th. I will be hosting along with Jordan Kent and some fun surprise guests and some exciting times happening. And Alexa Ray, you will be covering some stuff for fandom.
Yeah, I'll be running around. I'll be there.
New York Comic-Con. So if you guys are in New York and you hear this and you are at Comic-Con, come find us. Tweet to us. Let's high five or something.
Will you have pins on your person?
I will have
Yes.
pins on my person. What's Good Games pins. So please
Pins on
reach
my
out.
person.
Ladies, there was some really big news that happened last week. Yes. Steimer, you're
She's giving
peering
that
into
look.
my soul.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She really was. That was
I won't do that anymore.
No,
Stop
it's
soul
okay.
peering. We had this talk.
Stop soul peering.
But I like it.
So we're going to start our like mini news segment. Since we are taping this a week in advance, we don't have like a lot of like hot, fresh news for you, which is why we're focusing on.
My hair's just like flying.
Is
my
it too much
face.
wind?
It's very like Beyonce wind machine.
No,
right
it was
now.
little
Yeah.
Beyonce until your hair like formed a little mustache briefly. It was fantastic.
I'm into it. Well, it's very hot here in the San Francisco Bay Area while we're shooting.
So hot.
It's currently 82 degrees in the studio, so we have the fan going. Apologies if you are like, is it windy in there? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So as I was saying, we're gonna do a short news segment, and then we're gonna focus on your guys' questions. But we did want to talk about the big Rockstar reveal that happened last week. I hope that some supplementary news stories will follow in the days after we record this episode. But I think we were all anticipating something much more substantial. We got up early. We live streamed with some of
We
you.
made mimosas.
You can watch the archive on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/whatsgoodgames. And then it was a full, 90 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a
In and out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 90 seconds. I'm happy we got what we got, but I think Steimer made a good point. That was the 3 weeks leading up to this 90-second reveal really necessary? What was up with that?
It was. I mean, they're making the most of their marketing hype train. However, I think this was sort of a misstep in that regard. Like, don't over hype your stuff, because what happens is then people become more not disappointed, but you're like deflates a little bit, right? Whereas
Sure.
you want to keep building it up, and I feel like in this instance they may have actually knocked it down a little bit. Not that the game's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna sell like gangbusters, it's gonna be amazing, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm just agreeing with you because I'm still trying to I feel like we saw a lot in the 90 seconds, but
Right.
So some of the things we saw, let's go over a couple things.
Yeah.
So we have read a couple breakdowns from our colleagues in the business, and it looks like everyone is in agreement that this will be a prequel, or at least part of the game will be a prequel. Who knows if they're going to touch on what happens after Red Dead, if there is something that happens after Red Dead, if Marston is coming back. So that's something that we didn't see. We didn't see our lead protagonist from Red Dead Redemption, which was surprising, I think, for a lot of people. Steimer, you were really expecting him to show up.
I guess I'm just confused as to why they're holding it for so long when he's very clearly part of the silhouette. He's very clearly part of Dutch's gang. We know he's there, so why are you pretending like he's not? And I know that they're trying to like amp up this new character who they revealed today. Arthur Morgan is his name, but just give us something like.
So here's a thought. I'd have to get the timing right, but do we know how much time has passed from when John Marston leaves his gang until when he is ordered to kill his gang? Because someone posted a comment on our YouTube channel and said maybe this happens after John Marston deserts the gang.
But he's in the key art.
Oh,
Is he
with
though?
the
Is he?
gang.
One of those silhouettes is John.
How do you know though?
this?
If you go through and like look at the way the hat, like the outfit, if you look at silhouettes, like it looks very much like John Marston. It would be very weird if it
It
wasn't.
could be another dude in a hat.
No.
There's a lot of dudes in that. So, okay,
No, it
this
can't.
is your.
I mean, if you put your silhouette next to Brittany's silhouette and there was no context for how tall you were, you could potentially be very similar because your hairstyles in silhouette form are very similar.
You
It's
flatter
all
me.
about the context, though, right? That specific silhouette in that alongside all of the other people he was in a gang with. There's not going to be like another rando dude that just.
I'm just playing
surprisingly
devil's
looks exactly
advocate.
like
I'm
him.
just- I'm just saying, you know, it's a possibility.
It's likely, but it's not. I mean,
He's not the focus of this game, and nor will I say I don't think he
But I
ever
think
intended to be. But
it might be a little far fetched to say 100% with beyond a doubt that that's John Marston. That's all I'm getting at.
no.
No, you don't think that's a little? Okay, fair enough. She's in one of her moods, ladies and gentlemen.
She wants
So-
to fight you about it, Brittany.
So going back when Andrea mentioned, like, we don't know if this is, we know it's a prequel in some capacity.
Yeah.
Could it show the events after Red Dead? And the reason we think that is because we saw a screenshot, I think it was on GameStop, of a blonde, GameSpot, sorry, of a blonde-haired woman who looked like she could be an older bunny.
She did look remarkably like Bonnie.
She did.
We pulled up side by side
Yeah.
images of Bonnie McFarlane from Red Dead Redemption next to this blonde woman in the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer, and they look strikingly similar.
Right.
Like
But I don't know
very
if it's just
strikingly
like
similar.
she's in the McFarlane family, maybe, or I don't know. She's like a relative, but we can't. That one is like I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Don't know what that's all about. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it looked good. I wasn't like blown away by it. You know,
Right.
some people were like, "Oh my god, need it now." Brittany.
I was one of those people.
But I was like, "Hey, this looks good." And I think it's because there was just nothing about the Red Dead Redemption that really like drew me in. I didn't play very much of that game. I maybe played like 15 to 20 hours of that game, and that was about it.
That's one of the few games I 100%ed. Like went through, did the challenges, killed a bear with a knife, and in that game it's so ridiculous to do that because John Marston's turn radius is sort of like in Mass Effect where it's like a circle, like a half circle. So you're like half circling around this bear and like stabbing it and then like running around the other way and like stabbing it in the butt and then running away.
Never
And
get into a knife fight with Steimer, ladies and gentlemen.
I will stab you in the butt and run.
Her strategy.
But so now I'm wondering, like when I saw, so they had a bunch of, not a bunch, but they had different creatures in this.
Bear and a crocodile.
A bear and a crocodile. Were they not? No, there were bears.
Bears.
I stabbed a bear with a knife. I killed it.
And a horsey.
Horsies, yeah. The horses
Yes,
are big
there's a
part of
great
it.
soundbite of Alexa yelling "Horsey" as
is
soon
great.
as the horse comes on screen.
Don't forget
Yeah.
the horsey.
I can't wait to collect more horses in this game.
Horsey.
I love the horse collecting. You're like, you're
Horse.
pretty. I get you now.
Lasso that
Um,
horse.
But I think they'll probably add like kill a crocodile with a knife to
Is that
the
all you-
list
I
of
hope
challenges.
you can like wrestle a crocodile.
Maybe it's wrestle a crocodile to
Or, like,
death.
a
Who
wrestle a
knows?
bear.
What- yeah.
Is it a crocodile or is it an
Or an
alligator?
alligator.
Dun dun dun.
I don't
Okay.
know enough about
don't know
This
enough.
alligators
game takes
or
place in what
crocodiles.
area of America?
The
I don't-
Wild West.
I don't know.
That's quite a large
I'm Googling it right
swath
now.
of the United States.
Wild
I think
West.
that well, if we're talking about the West, we're talking about the western part of the
Alligator.
United States, right?
Right.
Aren't alligators in the eastern part of the United States?
Okay, so I googled Wild West alligator and this thing came up. Dale's Wild West alligator in a can. So I
Wait,
guess
what?
It's like,
Oh,
packaged
boy.
food.
Eat alligators.
The
so
packaged food you can eat.
In a
Gross.
can.
Hold
that
on.
sounds gross.
delicious.
Wild West alligator. All right, you guys keep talking. We figure this
I
out.
don't, why don't you just Google the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
It
'Cause
has
I don't
to do with like
remember.
their snout size,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh.
But it might tell us, like, if you do that, they might say what regions they're
This
found
is, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing the hard work for you. This is really important video
Snout
games
shape.
research
This is
happening in real
alligators.
time.
I mean,
in. Like I think one's in like freshwater, one's in saltwater or something like that. I can't
saltwater.
remember.
We're totally making
Alligators
this up as
have
we
wider
go.
U-shaped mouths. Crocodiles are more pointed. Home-based crocodiles tend to live in saltwater habitats, while alligators hang out in freshwater marshes and lakes. So it's an
Told
alligator.
you I was not making that up.
so it's an alligator.
There we go.
Yeah.
Alligator
Alligator.
wrestling.
Hashtag Andrea was right.
Don't eat it.
Yeah.
So I guess the next big part of this trailer is Arthur Morgan. Who
Yeah.
we assume we will be controlling. And
He was such a
Yeah.
big part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
and they said in the description that he was the new protagonist, right?
They're basically like this follows the story of Arthur Morgan and the Vanderlind or
Vanderlundy,
I think it's
Vanderlind.
Vander whatever.
Vanderlyn.
And
Duchess gang.
Duchess gang. And Arthur does not look
Oh
like
my
a very
God.
nice guy. He kicks people. He tells people he tells a son that he's gonna kill his son instead of his mom. Right?
Yeah, I don't know that I care about him yet. I feel like the trailer didn't give me enough reasons to be like, I care about Arthur Morgan and his trials and tribulations. Right now, I'm just like, where's John Marston?
Well, that's because we watched the trailer like 4 times this morning because we were just like, wait, what? Like, that's it? What? And each time I kept being like, what is the deal with this? I don't know. Like, it
he
wasn't.
feels almost like a
connecting.
villain, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He is in a
does.
gang.
The term is anti-hero.
And if
okay.
you look at John
No, you're not
Marston-
wrong. I just like
I mean, for what
I
we
will
heard,
actually do real hard. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll stop. Oh, read
No,
that. Oh,
no,
sorry.
go.
No,
I was
I was
apologizing.
saying like I don't think he's supposed to be a good guy. I mean, from what we've seen in the trailer, he's aligned himself with Dutch. Dutch is like, "You got my back," and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I got your back." So obviously, anyone who supports Dutch is not a good guy. He kicks people, like I said. He threatens sons, and
He kicks people
he kicks
real hard.
people real hard. So right now, yeah, he's being painted as a villain. I mean, I'm sure John Marston in his days was not a very nice guy either, but we sympathize with him as a character because we know he's trying to get his family back. And therefore, you're kind of dissuaded from committing acts of crime and killing people because you know if you fudge any of that up, you're not getting your family back. But who knows? Maybe Arthur has nothing to hold him back.
I would be curious to go back actually and look at the marketing that they did for Red Dead 1 and see how they painted John and how and what they, because I do actually think this is an interesting point. Like, he doesn't feel like the player character to me only because I feel like you would like hate yourself. You'd be like, I'm a jerk. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like Alexa used the proper terminology, right? He's an anti-hero. I
Yeah.
mean, we think about there are some popular protagonists that are, anti-hero like, I mean, you could even debate that Batman is like an anti-hero, right?
Sure.
In certain ways. And it wouldn't be the most, crazy idea that you play a character that is, struggles with like the light and dark sides of their personality or who they are or the way that their morals are. It probably would make for a much more interesting story than just playing like your straight like Western good guy, right?
Yeah, but except this guy seems to not struggle with light or he's just straight dark is what I'm seeing. Like he had zero qualms
yeah.
with doing any of the
Yeah.
things that
He
he
seemed
was
like
doing.
robbing a bank.
He seems very secure in his villainy.
Yes.
so.
Well, think about the 3 lead characters from Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar's last major game. Rockstar's last game. That was the last game they put out,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I mean, unless you count GTA Online as a separate entity, which it's not, I wouldn't say. But none of those guys were good guys either, right?
But they all had their redeeming qualities.
So maybe that's what they're going for here.
But they didn't show us.
It was very much a teaser, right?
Yeah, no, it's a teaser, but again, like if this is a teaser and they're introducing their main character, I don't have any reason to care about him right now. And for people that maybe for the people that did not play Red Dead 1 that are like, "Oh, Red Dead 2 hype, let's do it." Like the thing that hooks you onto a lot of these games is your main character or who you're playing as. So if I was someone who didn't know Red Dead and I watched that trailer, I would just be like, "Okay." But like, given like we're all invested in Red Dead, like we're like, oh, like trying to piece the story together. But for a person with no context, there's no anchor for them.
And what's interesting is when we look at the timeline, by the time this comes out, so this game, don't forget, was supposed to launch this year. Right now, this game was already supposed to have been
It
released.
could have been in our hands.
And so they've delayed it until spring 2018 is what they said, and some reporting pinned it after their fiscal year, so post April 1. So I would guess a May release.
May.
Happy
May
birthday
2018.
to me. Happy birthday to
All
me.
three of you have your birthday then, right?
Yeah.
May babies.
I will take that any day.
So
May babies.
that's almost 8 years after the previous Red Dead Redemption launched. There are some gamers who like probably do not know what this game is at all.
Right.
And have probably no connection to this game. And it's interesting to me that the pieces of marketing that they've gone with so far very much are in the vein of fan service to people who are familiar with the franchise and aren't necessarily like, hey, we're doing something different with like the Western genre. And it's tough when you have other IP that are out in the world now that exist like Westworld who are doing like really awesome, cool things now. And I know Westworld isn't a new IP, but like the way that the HBO has refreshed that property has kind of put it in, the collective eye where everyone's talking about it, or was when it was out. And, season 2 is highly anticipated and they're doing something really different with it than clearly what Red Dead Redemption is doing. And so it's hard for me to look at Red Dead Redemption and go, ooh, I want that thing, when I'm like, ooh, but I have this other cool Western thing over here. How many Western things do I need?
But Western isn't really, it's not something that's
Saturated.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like zombies at this point, which are, and I know you love them.
It's okay. That was
But
The
that was
side eye
what
was real there.
But and it's not to say that they're bad. It's just a lot. There's just a lot of that content right now. I don't think there's a lot of Western content,
Especially
even
in
with
the video game
Westworld
world.
out and stuff. Yeah, video games definitely not. But I think that maybe they would actually benefit from something like that, because people who are watching Westworld may be like, oh, well, what's this Western game that's coming out? Maybe I kind of want to have an experience in that type of world. They won't necessarily know anything about it and get it.
Do you think, my wheels are turning. Do you think Rockstar purposefully released a trailer without John Marston in order to garner the attention of those who don't care about Red Dead Redemption because it did come out so long ago?
I don't think that they did it for that specific purpose, but obviously they didn't include him with a very specific intention, and what that is,
They
maybe
didn't
we can ask
include
them.
him because I think he would have overshadowed their new character.
Yeah.
But their new character wasn't that interesting. So make him more interesting to me, please. And then show me John Marston.
Yeah, it was an
In that order?
interesting choice
Sure.
for a trailer, I feel
That's
like.
fine. Whatever order you want to do is fine. Just, I am a little worried that I'm not going to be able to relate to this guy whatsoever. Like, John Marston had redeemable, relatable qualities. And like I already mentioned, this guy just kind of looks like straight up serial killer kind of a dude.
I just hope we
Straight
get
up serial killer.
new information soon, because I feel like, while this did generate a lot of hype, I think it obviously left more questions than answers, which is fine. That's what it's meant to do, but I don't feel satisfied with this trailer. I think it looks pretty. It looks like it has the Western atmosphere that I love. The Red Dead Redemption is the only Rockstar game I've been able to complete from start to finish, because I love the atmosphere. I can't get into Grand Theft Auto. It's too realistic for me in terms of all the buildings, and it's just not my jam. So that's what I'm really into. But I'm a story-driven gamer, and I'm like, what's happening here? Like, who are these characters? I don't know if I should care about them, but I know we'll get more info, so I'll just sit tight until then.
Yes.
Longer
Hang on
trailer,
to your butts.
please.
Hang on to
Longer
your
trailer,
butts.
please.
Indeed.
Gimme.
Cool. So that'll probably be our super short first news section, since there isn't. There's a couple things that
Nothing happened. It's fine.
but nothing big.
SNES
I don't
came
care about
out.
anything else.
Yeah. So by this time, hopefully, we all have our hands on an SNES Classic. We'll see how demand goes. We will give you guys an update. Check on the social medias. What's good _games, or each of our individual accounts, and hopefully we'll be posting photos with them. When we come back, Alexa Ray and I got some meaty hands-on time with Assassin's Creed Origins. We're going to talk about that briefly, and then we're taking your questions. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. This episode of the What's Good Games podcast is brought to you by TakeThis.org. Most of us spend a lot of time thinking about our bodies. Gain a little weight, lost a little weight, back hurts from sitting at a desk too much, stomach hurts from too much avocado. But how much time do you spend thinking about your brain? There are a lot of simple things that you can do every day to keep your brain in shape. Take breaks from work, get enough sleep, drink more water, put down those screens. Well, as much as you can. Now, it sounds simple, but taking care of your body's needs can actually help your brain too, because it's all connected. And sometimes your brain needs more help, and that's okay too. This is just one of the things that we learned from our friends over at TakeThis.org. Take This has been working to bring the mental health care community and the video game community together since 2012. If you or someone you love is feeling not okay and could use a little advice, visit them at TakeThis.org. And if you have the resources to donate or volunteer, TakeThis.org is where you can do that too. It's okay to not be okay. Take this. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to segment 2 of our special edition of our 21st birthday episode. If you guys missed last week's episode, I talked about how Steimer, Britt, and I are making a special appearance in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Expo. Britt, tell us a little bit about this convention for people who have never heard of it, because we found out someone wrote into us and said, hey, Sam, I believe her name was, and was like, I live in Tulsa. I had no idea this expo was happening. I'm going to come.
Okay, so I'm admittedly not a Tulsa, Oklahoma Games Expo expert. See what I did there?
But you have been there before.
I'm getting to that, but I'm saying I can't give you all the nitty gritty. But what I can tell you is that I went last year during their first show. I was also a guest. I participated on panels. Like I said, first year, it was really fun, and it was really intimate setting, and you get to interact and hang out with cool people. They had the show floor with like lots of live rad video game music, little booths set up where you could buy cool things, video game tournaments. It was really fun, and so I think we'll have a great time there this year. And their second time, yes.
Yeah, second annual. And there'll be panels. We have a panel. We're each on individual panels as well. If you guys want to learn about who is going to be there, what is going to be there, and how you can come, you can go to xpotulsa.com. That's xpotulsa.com for more details. So we've had limited hands-on experience, and in lieu of Steimer and I just raving about Destiny 2 again, Alexa Ray and I got some substantial hands-on time with Assassin's Creed Origins. Last week, we talked about the news of the Discovery Tour, which Ubisoft announced, their educational non-combat mode, where you can go into the world and walk around and explore and, go on these audio tours and learn things, which is awesome. But there's so much more to that game. So Alexa Ray, tell me about your time with Assassin's Creed. Did you stick with the main quest lines, or did you do what I do and just kind of goof around the whole time?
I goofed around and got straight up murdered by a pack of hippos.
What?
Hippos are it's like the world's most dangerous land animal.
The hippos at Assassin's Creed Origins
Brittany
run
can't handle
so damn fast. So I decided to do the side quest. I was like, I'm going to derp around. I'm going to go see what's going on. And one of the side quests is like, you have to go find this woman and then help her liberate some prisoners in a camp. So
pull it together, Britt.
How does the most random shit happen to you, Alexa, every time?
I know. So as lead protagonist Bayek, the last Magi, he's kind of like the unofficial sheriff of Egypt. And he kind of goes around like helping people solve their problems, all of them, which most of them have to do with just straight up murdering fools. So he
errands.
Yeah. So he goes to find this woman to liberate some prisoners. And she was on the other side I'm in the Nile River Delta region, and she's on the other side, on the other shore. So I decide I'm going to swim the entire length of the river to get to the other side, because you can dive.
Yep.
So,
but there are them's crocodiles in them waters.
So in the deep
alligators.
In the deep waters, not so much. So I found a sunken ship, tried to stay down there for as long as I could, because you do get quite a generous bit of underwater breath holding
airtime.
So I went down, found some treasure, was really enjoying it. Swam to the other side, and I'm swimming up along the bottom of the water, just kind of checking out, see if there's anything else cool down there. And it's new location discovered. Hippopotamus nest.
Nope.
And I was like,
It was called a lair in my
lair.
game.
Yes, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
This lair. How ominous.
Hippopotamus lair. And I was like, okay, so I'm coming into the hippopotamus lair from behind, and I see one off to the side, in the water, my radar is you see the outline, and I'm like, oh cool, there's a hippopotamus here, they must just hang out here. Those hippopotami, or whatever you say, the hippopotamuses, they they are hungry hippopotamuses because I popped out of the water thinking they won't attack me if I don't attack them.
Nope.
That is a false,
Not how
that is a
hippos
false
work.
assumption to make.
Oh no.
And I popped out of the water because the objective for the lady was nearby. And I'm like, hey, hippopotamus layer, what's going on? And all the hippos were like, and they turned and they saw me and they ran at me with their mouths open, like agape. And they have this like, this like crazy little waddle walk.
For everyone who's listening, she's moving her arms back and forth, trying to mimic these little short, stubby hippo legs, moving as quickly as possible.
It looks like a toddler running with their mouth open, except it's a giant hippo.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
mouth open part is so funny, and I have a bunch of gameplay, so I got
it's
a chance to
crazy.
sit down with Ashraf Ismail, the game director for this game, and we got to capture some footage. So we'll be putting that up as a standalone video, but you'll get to see like the mouth open running at you.
It's so ridiculous.
Hippo just like coming straight for you.
It's ridiculous. So I got straight up murdered by these hippos, and I realized that killing the hippos is part of the mission. So I spawned back in, and I went after them, and I killed all of them but one, and that one refused to die. So I think, okay, I'm gonna run out of the area, and he won't follow me, and he'll get bored, and I can come back and kill him after I've like. So I'm running out of the area, running through the grass, and I hear someone running behind me, and I assume it's this woman.
Something.
I assume it's this woman following me. So I run, and I stop, and I turn around. One hippopotamus has chased me like 400 meters.
Hippo.
And it's like, I'm now in like the grass. I'm in like a grassy area, and this hippo is just like straight up chasing me. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just keep running. So I keep running, and I think now he has to have let me go. And I turn around, and this hippopotamus is still coming after me. And I think I have some footage too, but you can probably hear it because I recorded my audio, and I'm just going, leave me alone, because he wouldn't stop.
Why
He
didn't
wouldn't
you
stop
just
You
following
know
kill
what
me.
it reminded me of?
I did kill him, but
And I talked to Ash about this. It reminded me of the Badgers in Far Cry 3.
yep, the badgers.
The honey badgers that just would not leave you alone, that were just like vicious little suckers. And all of the wildlife in Assassin's Creed Origin and the hunting of the wildlife had a very Far Cry feel to it, which is great because I love that part of Far Cry. And it makes a lot of sense in this world that you're hunting these animals and using their specific types of skin for specific crafting to make, key things. And now crafting obviously has been part of Assassin's Creed for the last few iterations, but it felt like they kind of took the crafting system from Far Cry and kind of meshed it with what they were doing to make like a superior hunting and crafting experience.
Can I tell you guys more about hippos?
Sure.
Do you know? Are you like a
No.
wellspring of hippo?
But-
facts?
She's over there patiently
I'm just
being like,
like-
I know something about hippos.
I know something you don't know about
Because I
hippos.
watched a documentary on National Geographic about hippos. Because I was like, oh, one day maybe I'd like to go to Africa. Oh, wait, everything there will fucking kill you. Maybe not.
Yeah.
So this thing on hippos, which is actually terrifying for us in this room, they are much more aggressive towards women for some reason. So the fact that you are
Misogynist
playing as a
hippos.
dude and like it's still chasing you, I'm like, according to the National Geographic documentary,
God
I don't
damn
know
it,
that they would
Slimer.
still chase you because it was like whenever there was a group of dudes near the hippos, because they are very aggressive and they are very territorial, it would always be like as soon as the men left and the woman was like, I'm gonna take an extra picture, it attacked and killed her or like bit off her leg.
Oh my
Or
God.
there was
Jesus.
another one where like a woman they were filming a documentary and she was surrounded by dudes, but they only went after her. And then there was another story of like how it was just crazy. There's all these things where it was like they were only targeting.
Do
the
hippos run
females.
fast or something?
Hippos
Yes.
are
Yes.
actually very
Oh,
fast.
you wouldn't think so. Okay.
I
Wow.
guess.
I'm gonna now look
So-
up how fast hippos run.
So I got murdered by the hippos, and then like I like fell down some sand dunes and like just had like a real good old bumbly time. I fell off a building.
Where did you guys?
19 miles an hour they run.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus. I
That
can
is
only
very
run like
surprising.
6. That's
Wow.
ridiculous.
How fast do humans run?
Well, how fast do average?
fast do
Oh,
you
humans
a
run?
human can run 28 miles an hour.
Can you?
Can.
Can most of us?
Can.
I said,
But
yeah,
will
can.
they?
That's like
That's
the
the-
super fast people.
That's the maximum. The average person jogs at 8.3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So full sprint. If you're in a full sprint, you're probably going between 10 and 20, if not higher.
Oh my god.
I'm just
If,
trying to
just how long can you sustain that?
envision being chased
Hopefully
down
enough
by-
to get into a tree.
Yeah,
True.
You
Getting
can't
chased down by a
climb the
hippo.
trees.
Okay, so
Interesting.
not to get too in the weeds talking about hippos.
Get it in the weeds.
But I
with
did want to
hippos.
actually ask you guys, because at PAX, I also played Assassin's Creed with you, and they had changed the controls for combat, and I didn't like it. What did they keep?
That's still the same. So there is talk that they might be adding a legacy control scheme that is a selectable option in the menu.
Please.
My only gripe with the controls is that lock on is an R3 click.
That's gross. I hate anything that requires me to click the sticks in.
Final Fantasy 15 used to have an R3 click lock on, and then people complained about it and they changed it for launch. Like it's clunky. I'm not when I'm using all of my fingers to pull the trigger.
The last thing you want to do is click the trigger in.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the last thing I want to do is it's like
Yeah.
it's not great.
The click on the joystick should only ever be for something that's passive.
Yeah.
It's not like if I'm in combat, that's the last thing I want to do. I'm
Right.
gonna mess it up, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna accidentally do it, and then I'll be mad. So there's a lot more to this game that we got to play. So we got dropped into a pretty I'd say maybe like a third of a way into the game. So we were around like level 12, and the quest line that we were doing was like level 18. What was immediately apparent was that they've definitely boosted the RPG elements and the mechanics for an Assassin's Creed game. And it felt very foreign for Assassin's Creed. I've played all of the Assassin's Creed games, and this is the first time where I actually had to go grind in the world
Yeah.
to do
Oh.
quests. And I
Really?
don't like that.
Do you get XP for just like killing people?
Yes.
And stuff?
Yes. For collecting
Yes.
stuff, for hunting animals, for crafting things.
But it's not enough.
It's like
So
the
basically
grind was
they need
slow.
to figure out their balance better.
So what happened was we had 4 hours of playtime, and I never got to finish the quest line because the enemies and the quests were too difficult for me to take on, and I just didn't have enough time to grind to get higher level.
So how did you grind in Assassin's Creed?
So you hunt primarily, and then after you hunt, you collect the animal parts, and then you use those animal parts to craft upgrades for your weapons, or you can sell them.
Side quests.
I was about to say, what about side quests?
You can do
Yeah.
you can
But
level up
even-
your side quests.
But even the side quests that I did,
they were hard.
they were too high level for me at the beginning. I had to wait. The first side quest I did was like a level 14, and I was the level
Why
12.
did they do that?
And the guy that I fought at the end of the mini side quest, like 2-shot killed me.
Oh, God.
So it's like-
that's not fun.
Yeah, so like part of the beauty of Assassin's Creed in previous entries was that you could choose if you wanted to kind of stealth your way in and use your, abilities or use your gadgets, or if you wanted to like go in guns blazing, swords blazing, whatever.
Shotgun bow.
And like say like screw stealth, I'm just gonna fight every guard that comes my way. And that was a really fun part of that game because the combat was really fluid, and I liked the way that they allowed you to pick what kind of weapons if you wanted to go with the small fast blades or the heavy two-handed blade. Like they let you kind of choose how you wanted to play. This time around, the customization is still there. There's even more extensive customization than in some of the previous games, but the forced grinding is something that I don't really look for, nor do I care for or desire in an Assassin's Creed game. But I sat down and when I talked with Ash about this, and I was like, dude, I don't know how I feel about this. And he was like, we needed to iterate. We needed to do something different. We needed to bring a fresh gameplay perspective to the franchise because, we got a lot of feedback that the formula was getting too formulaic.
So we're going to add level grinding, which is the most formulaic thing you could possibly do.
Well, it's an interesting point, right? Because it's clearly not a new concept. It's very old as far as video games go, but it's new for this franchise, and the way that they're implementing it with the other systems that do feel very Assassin's Creed is, still remains to be seen if it's going to have a satisfying gameplay loop overall.
Sure.
We didn't get enough time to
Yeah.
really determine what that felt like. But I'm curious to see how it pans out because I didn't really appreciate that I was in this gameplay session. And granted, we were in a very like isolated kind of experience where they're like, you're going to be this level. They filled out most of the skill tree for us. So I didn't get to fill out a lot of it. They gave me a couple of points to pick what I wanted, but the bulk of the tree had already been filled out. Whereas if I was playing on my own, I get to choose the way that I want, because there's 3 main branches to the tree. There's like the warrior branch, there's like the stealthy branch, and then there's like the gadgety branch. And so you will, as a player, get to determine how you want your Bayek to play. But Alexa, how did you feel about the progression system during your playtime?
It was slow.
Yeah.
Did you ask them whether or not there was, because sometimes in RPGs there are more optimal ways of level grinding. Did they say anything about that?
So the thing that I deeply appreciate about the RPG quest system and the quest driven, I guess, structure of Assassin's Creed Origins is that it encourages you to discover things and promotes world building organically. Like, I would complete one side quest and then there would be like an exclamation point would pop up like 20 feet away from me or whatever, and it wouldn't be a side quest in the side quest line. It was just a random side quest that like wasn't marked as a major side quest. Like a woman needed help doing something, or a guy needed help putting, wheat on a cart and then going and killing the tax collector for him or something.
Very sandboxy in that way. Yeah.
It's very, very sandboxy, and it pulls you, and it pulled me back and forth across the region, like very, very, very organically. Like I would complete something and then see another thing to do, or I would like scan the area with the eagle Sinu and see like, oh, there's like an animal skin opportunity over here, or like, oh, I can go craft over there, or there's a question mark over here. I should go look at it. And it pulled me into a lot of really different areas. Like I chose to just run straight through a desert to get to the other side of the area to complete a quest, and I found a golden question mark that the director Ashraf told me to keep an eye out for. And I found a golden question mark, and what I found was this set of stones that you activate, and Bayek sits down, and it's like a little mini game where you line up the, like, it opens up the sky, and then you have to line up a constellation. And then once the constellation is set up, you hear these like audio tracks that are like snippets of like Bayek's life. And then there's like drawings in the sand, and the drawing in the sand next to this one was a man and a woman with a child between them, and they were holding their hands. And it seems like all of these little things like offer insight into what Bayek's life was before the Assassin's Creed Origins. And it also shows like, they allude to like something was taken from him, or his life was irreparably changed, and that's why he turned to the life that he was. And it's like, maybe this is like how we learn what it is. And I wouldn't have found that if I wasn't just following random quests back and forth. And then I found another set of ruins, and I walked in, and there was a man standing in the ruins. And as I walked closer, a snake fell out of his shirt. And then as I walked closer, he disappeared. And then as I walked closer, the snake disappeared. Like it was a mirage. And it like shimmered away. And it was like really creepy and strange. And so I found a lot of weird shit in the desert in Assassin's Creed Origins. But the point of that story is, without that kind of quest structure, I probably would not have wandered into a weirdo area if I wasn't being pulled through it. But what I don't really appreciate from it is that even after doing all of that work, all that running, doing all those side quests, I completed all 4 main side quests and then did like 6 or 7 little mini things that popped up. And when I went to finish the second half of the main quest line they gave us, I still could not complete it because there were too many guys, and they had too much health, and they were too overpowered.
What level you were left at?
I was left at level 18, and the quest and the gameplay story, like the story quest, was level 18.
And it was still too hard?
It was hard. Like it was like you're like in a sandstorm and people are swarming you, so you can't really see when they're coming at you. Also, like 6 dudes swarm you at once, and it's just like you have to. They were all too powerful for me to at least hit one and get away.
It's not like previous Assassin's Creed where you're like surrounded by 20 guards and you can pretty easily take them on one at a time, like movie style, where like none of them.
I'm gonna fight you, and then I'm gonna fight you.
Yeah, exactly.
Quantity over quality.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
It's much more difficult, and I think fans of the franchise are going to appreciate that they've ramped up combat to make it more challenging and to make you think about encounters before you just barrel into them. And kind of piggybacking off on, looking at levels and being able to kind of choose how you want to approach these quests and am I powerful enough? They've opened up the world and not locked it off So you can wander into pretty much all of the areas of Egypt that encompass the game, but on the map. So as soon as you walk into a new area, it'll just say new area discovered and it clears the map. You don't have to like go conquer a tower like you had to in previous games. And then it'll say on the map like what the defense level is of that area. And so you'll know, okay, well, I'm level 16. The area over there is level 30. I better stay far away from that area because if I get into any trouble, I'm going to die pretty much instantly. And that goes not just for the enemies, the humans, like the animals too, like are vicious. I got
level 30.
She got attacked by a pack of hippos. I got attacked by a pack of crocodiles.
Oh God!
But I murdered all those fools, all 6 of them. Stabbed him all in the mouth. You can see it on my gameplay video.
They are smaller than hippopotamus.
They are. They are not. They don't run at you with their mouth open. Instead, they swish you with their
chomp at
tail.
you.
They like whap you with their tail. Yeah,
They actually
Exactly.
fight you.
That was like a pig crocodile.
So I'm intrigued by the changes that they're making. I think that the world itself is so beautiful and so well designed from the playtime I've had with it that it makes me want to spend time in it. Of course, we were playing in 4K. It looked gorgeous, and you can, if you check my gameplay video, I'm gonna try to put it up in 4K if it doesn't break our computer here when I edit it. And, you know, I had said previously, you know, after, you know, Steimer and I got a chance to play this at PAX, that this is a game that makes me want to get an Xbox One X and a 4K TV.
It's very pretty.
Because
Just
it looks so good.
Yeah.
And I'm so intrigued by what they're doing with Bayek and Aya. This is the first time they've done like a husband and wife pair as like the protagonists. They haven't said that she's playable. But I have to imagine at some point in the game, because she's such a huge part of...
They did say she's playable in some missions, but also insinuated she's not the only other character you can play as.
Okay, maybe
Oh,
that's
really?
what they were referring to.
Yeah.
Because they said something about playable characters, but then they were like, we're not talking about that yet. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know what other characters
Yeah,
they
I
might
don't
be
know who it
referring
could
to.
be.
It'd probably just be story spoilers that they don't want to
Yeah.
dive into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
Burb.
it's like she's such a powerful character that I really want to see more from her and her relationship with Bayek and how that plays off of, especially in this, you know, ancient Egyptian setting where clearly the roles of people and the class system and the roles within those classes of men and women was so dramatically different than anything we see today. I find it like super fascinating. Yeah. But do you have any other thoughts about your play session?
I just have so many questions. The game comes out later this month. I like the bird. I like that you can fly.
Senu?
You can fly. I think it's like limitless how far you can go with her. Because I flew like 2,000 meters. I like stood at the edge of the desert and let her go.
Yeah.
And she just marked everything for like a 2,000 meter radius. And then I called her back and I was like, great.
It's a
I
really
didn't
cool
have to do
feature.
that. Thanks, girl.
So we first saw this in Far Cry Primal, and the mechanic is almost identical to the way that it works in that game as it is in Assassin's Creed Origins. So really helpful for scouting out. If you're on a mission and you have to infiltrate an area to scout out all the guards, it'll put their level next to them when they pop up. And when you're out hunting, it'll mark all the wildlife and what kind of resource you will get from them if you hunt them, which is also helpful.
You also get a horsey.
And a camel. We rode a
Yeah.
camel.
You get a horsey if you hit down on the D-pad, you'll whistle, and he'll show up like in Breath of the Wild. He'll be right there for you and be like, "I'm your horsey. Where you want to go?"
So he's not as derpy as like Roach. Who's would be
No.
like, you're like, whistle, Roach, and Roach is like on the house.
These-
What are you doing?
No, he's a good horsey.
Yeah, he's a better horse. I mean, and this isn't the first time that they've had mounts that you can.
But I like
you
this
know,
horsey.
beckon. Yeah, the horse. Did the horse have a name? I don't remember.
Horsey.
Horsey.
I'll look
All
at my
horses are
gameplay
horsey.
footage. But yeah, the mount system is great for traversing because since the world is so large, you definitely want to use your mount as much as possible. But yeah, it looks good. I'm excited. I mean, I've been a long time Assassin's Creed fan. I have like an Assassin's Creed shelf back here, which is a little out of frame. So you can't see, I've got a bunch of statues and stuff. And I've, really intrigued to see how it plays out. Of course, they aren't talking at all about what happens with modern day Abstergo and, the first civilization. That whole storyline has gotten a little convoluted over the last two games. I hope they kind of bring it back in a meaningful way. But
As
we
someone
won't know
who-
until it releases.
Who hasn't played an Assassin's Creed game since the first one, like you, Britt? Are we going to be real confused by the Abstergo stuff? Or are we going to have any idea what's happening?
I have no idea because they won't talk about it. They won't talk about what's happening
I
and
kinda
where
want
they're
you to
at.
just
and-
forget about it and just be like, it doesn't matter. You're just in ancient Egypt running around.
But I really enjoyed that part with Desmond and like that whole like future storyline. Like I really like thought that it brought a nice twist to this franchise and was such a big part of it. And they kind of just like brushed it aside. And I don't know if that's because Corey May left the writing team and then they were like, well, I don't know how we're gonna like wrap this up in a good way. We can't bring somebody on that has like the right vision for where this narrative is going or where the lore is going to go. Something I would love to deep dive talk with them about, but they're just so tight-lipped about it. Maybe post-launch,
Yeah.
you know, it would be worth me reaching out and saying like, hey, like let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What's happening with this storyline? But I mean, they very clearly were like, we're not talking about it right now. So that was a bummer.
Ooh.
But I get it. It would be very much spoiler territory for a lot of fans like me to like know what's happening with that storyline.
Where
ahead
did
of
they
time.
leave it, I guess? Can you, or do you remember?
I didn't finish Syndicate, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't like that's it. Like I think they just didn't do anything with it at all because it was like the big thing was like Abstergo. It's like we're in the Animus, and for the first time ever, we're dropping you into the DNA of twins. Ugh, and it was like so, and it was like that, and that was it. They didn't really pay much attention to it.
Let me look on the wiki really quick and see where it's at. Because it got to the point where they were just like, oh yeah, the Templars are here, but we're not really paying that much attention to them. And in one of the games, I don't know if it was Unity or if it was the game before, but like you pretty much like you were an Abstergo employee and you could like look around your desk and then you would go back in, and it was very very
weird.
basic.
And there were a bunch of emails about like company stuff, and a lot of the emails were based on like stuff happening at the company. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs in those emails.
Because I played that. Was that the co-op one?
Unity?
Was it?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there
yeah,
were
yeah.
like and there were references to like the development of like Far Cry Blood Dragon and like all that stuff.
Because I played like a couple hours of that one, and I do remember that part. I thought that was kind of fun.
Okay, no, there was the present day story in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but
Yeah.
you couldn't
So-
play through it.
So the Rebecca Crane and Sean Hastings, who have been in a lot of the games, almost all of the games, have infiltrated an Abstergo facility and against orders decide to spy on a secret Templar meeting. So is that all that happens? No. Rebecca and Sean attempt to capture Isabel, but she had anticipated the ambush, revealing blah, blah, blah.
Okay, I have no idea what's
Yeah,
happening.
nope.
So
Yeah.
that's fine.
I don't. But here's the thing: is that like it's so confusing and murky now that I don't even know, and they haven't even talked about the first civilization
I don't even know what you mean. when
really
you say that.
since. Really, since maybe
I'm just gonna
maybe
go
Black
stab some
Flag.
hippos.
People who are listening and watching, you know what I'm talking about, right? So there are these like these godlike creatures that it's really complicated for me to explain. I'll explain it to you after we're done recording the
Okay.
show.
Perfect.
I'll
Sounds
walk
great.
you through.
Please
I'll
don't.
walk you through it.
Don't
Please
do it later when I'm not here.
Alexa's like, no, I don't want to
I
listen.
know that shit.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up now, but if you guys want to check out more, I have gameplay. I had a nice long chat with Ash, and that video will hopefully be up by the time this goes live. If it's not, it'll be up soon. And just look for a notification from our Twitter account. I saw that, Britt. And you can get our notification there. Or you can subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/what'sgoodgames. It's the easiest way to get notifications for when we post videos. Okay, ladies, when we come back, we're going to be taking questions from you guys. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, for our third segment of our special edition of the What's Good Games podcast for our 21st birthday. So I know, right? None of us are drinking.
I
on
know,
our
I just
21st
realized
birthday.
no,
that.
I am. I'm drinking kombucha, and there's
Which has-
technically
I was
alcohol in
about to say,
this.
it's
yeah?
got a minor
Technically?
amount of alcohol.
Yeah, there's alcohol in kombucha.
Oh.
some of them,
Trace
not all
amounts.
of them.
Trace amounts.
Well, then I
Where's
guess
my
I gotta get on
list?
that kombucha train.
I think at
Right.
Costco they make you show your ID to buy. Or wait, no, they just don't sell it. I don't remember. There's something, but there are
You
different
can't
places
self-check
you
out
need to
kombucha
have.
at Target.
Yeah. You
Well
need to have your
then.
ID.
So now we're taking your questions. We reached out to you on Twitter and said, hey, we decided to take some questions for our third segment. So we got a bunch of questions. So apologies if we don't get to yours. We definitely will not get to all of them. There's just too many. So we're going to kind of go at random here since we kind of just copy and pasted them into a giant document. So let's talk about, there's a lot of good ones. This one is from Ash Sweet at TwitchCon. TwitchCon isn't happening yet, but
That's a little premature. You prematurely bared,
I appreciate that you are very enthusiastic. Sorry, my app closed on me. And Ash Sweetring asks, OMG, yes, who has been the most influential people you've met in the industry and why?
Ooh.
Well, okay, so influential as in like influential on your work? Or
I think you can
influential
interpret
as
it
like
however
they
you
are
want.
the most famous person you've ever met?
I don't want to necessarily qualify influential with famous because there are a lot of famous people who are twats. Let's just call that out. As my good friend Marcus Beer would say, the annoyed gamer. But there are a lot of famous people who do good influential stuff, but there are also a lot of influential people who are not necessarily famous. And I think the definition of what fame is, particularly in the video games business, is quite varied, right? So does anybody know off the top of their head who they would pick?
So for me, I would say, and I've only briefly shook her hand, but it was Jessica Chobot and she was a major
Love you, Chobot.
she had a huge impact
What's
on me.
crazy is I was gonna say her too.
Really? Oh, yay! Back when I was working at my 9-to-5 job that I hated so much, I was looking for something to read, and I found the IGN community blogs, and I found that she was doing all these awesome things. I loved reading her blog posts, and it was really inspiring, and I was like, I want to do something like that, so I started blogging. I've only, like I said, maybe shook her hand like once, and it was like, oh, cool. Yay. So shout out to Jessica. I know you're not listening, but thank you so much.
For me, because I worked with her at IGN, and she was just really supportive, and she always like wanted to help me however she could, and like she was just a really good person to go shoot the shit with too. Like she's one of the most bluntly honest people you will ever meet.
She's so funny. She tells the funniest stories.
Yeah. And so like to me as a young like bright-eyed bushy-tailed what the hell's going on sort of a person in the industry, it was really helpful having her around to kind of be like a shoulder to lean on.
And what's great about her as somebody else who also does on-camera hosting is that a lot of people don't realize that she does so much more than just on camera, because I get that from a lot of people as well. They're like, oh, I didn't know you did this, this, and this. And that's what I think is great is that she's taken, her notoriety rose because of what she was doing on the Daily Fix, right? But she translated that into a lot of other cool projects, Bizarre States. She wrote a video game. She produces and works on a bunch of other shows.
She's a comic too, I think now.
Oh, really? That's another thing I didn't know she did. So, that to me is really awesome and inspiring from another woman who does similar stuff in the business to see her really diversifying, the kind of creative work that she's doing. So, definite major props to Ms. Chobot. Alexa, is there anybody influential that you can think of?
God, I don't know. I've met so many people that have either inspired my career or helped me sort of hone me into the person I am today. And I think the person that has had the biggest influence on where my career went and how good I got at writing, I think has to be Russ Pitts. Because I was writing.
You love Russ.
I love Russ. I was writing. Russ and I worked at Polygon. I had the great privilege to work with him for a while. And I wanted to write features. So I would poop out something and be like, this is great. And my whole life, I had always been writing ahead of the curve for whatever class I was in or whatever I was doing. And I wrote something. I'm like, this is gonna be great. And he tore it apart and sent it back to me and was just like, hey, here are all the edits you have to make. And it wasn't malicious or mean. It was just a bunch of edits. And I was and I got frustrated because I was like, wait, I thought this was great. I don't understand what he's asking for. And I was just kind of stomping around in circles being like, well, what is this now? And he told me, he said, the best piece of advice I ever got when I was starting out was allow yourself to be edited. So let me fucking edit you. So I
can totally hear him saying that in his voice.
So I worked with him, and even when I wasn't writing features and I was writing, things for other aspects of Polygon, and when I started writing bigger and long form things, like I just remembered like all the advice that Russ gave me and how he like really pushed me, like, is this good? Great. Can it be better? Yes. Is it the best it can be? No, it's definitely not. Make it better. And just that pushing. And I don't think I would have been able to write the book that came out this year, or any of the big features I've done, or any of the projects I now have in the pipeline without his influence on me. So I'd probably pick Russ.
That's a great choice.
Yeah.
There's so many people that I think about that come to mind when you talk about influential people in your career. But two people that I just want to quickly highlight that really had a positive impact on me were Ian and Anthony from Smosh. So Ian Hickox and Anthony Padilla, the two guys that founded Smosh, the original channel. I got to work with them at Smosh Games when I was at Alloy Digital and then Defy Media. And what was great about working with them is because at that time, they were already huge. They had developed this amazing audience on YouTube, tens of millions of subscribers. And, they wanted to launch this new channel, and getting to see their work ethic and how devoted they were to their content was something that was really refreshing in a time where I had just come from working at Machinima, the largest multi-channel network, at the time, and working with a lot of creators there who also were doing cool things, but a lot of them who also weren't like the best people. And that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. Now, I'm not trying to blanket statement everybody who I worked with at Machinima, because as I mentioned, I did work with some really amazing creators there. But it was just so different meeting these guys who are famous in their own right to a lot of people, to millions of fans around the world. The idea that I got to like sit down in meetings with these guys and kind of shoot the shit with them while also observing their creative process was, really impressive to me, because it got to the point where they were so hands-on with all of the content as we were launching. Like, they would send back very detailed time code notes on the videos. They would watch every single minute of every piece that would go up on the channel. Anthony himself would like hand edit and correct the thumbnails if they weren't up to the standard or the creative that he wanted. And to me, that level of dedication and commitment to the content is something you so rarely see, because there's a lot of people who are making content on the internet these days, but there's not a lot of people who are doing it really, really well. And so seeing a couple of, professionals and hardworking people really kind of reaping the benefits and the rewards of all of their labor was really inspiring and influential to me to go, hey, I thought I was working hard, but clearly I can work harder. Good question. So, next question is from my app keeps closing. I'm sorry.
Close the app.
This is a nice one. At Enchanting Duck wants to know, what's your favorite cocktail?
Classic margarita.
Ooh.
That's a good choice.
Like
That's
a
a
classic
really-
ass
yeah.
margarita.
Tequila,
Yeah.
lime, triple sec.
Triple sec. Or, God, what's it called?
Cointreau? Yeah,
Cointreau.
they're the same thing.
A little bit of agave. Maybe it's got to be like 2 drops or not at all.
Yeah,
I want
very
to taste
light.
that tequila. Classic margarita.
Do you do salt or no salt?
If I'm feeling it, salt.
I can't do salt and margaritas anymore because
Because you're so salty.
yes.
She's full up on salt, ladies and
But
gentlemen.
no, it was more like I had a bad one where like the salt went from the rim to the bottom of the glass.
Oh, ew, no.
And so I went to, and I was drinking it with a straw, and I just sucked up like a mouthful of salt
No bueno.
margarita.
I'm
and
into
almost
it. I'm like,
almost
give it to
threw
me.
up. That was the level of salt. It was in
Well, that's not good.
Barf worthy. It was like that James Bond moment where he goes and like chugs salt water to vomit.
Barf worthy.
I was like, nope.
I'm not really a fan of cocktails. I'm more
Yeah, you
like,
just drink stuff
I
straight.
just I like my whiskey straight. I sometimes will get a Long Island if I'm feeling frisky.
Oh, I haven't had a
Oh my
good Long Island in a
God.
long time.
Yeah.
The best Long Island I ever had was in Sydney, Australia.
Really?
Yeah, they hand squeezed the lemon and made fresh, like, simple syrup. And then they had this, like, really fancy cola. And they perfectly balanced. The problem is, a lot of American bartenders know that you're ordering a Long Island because you want to get shithoused. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
right? So they don't craft the recipe the way that it's meant to be balanced. They just
Right.
kind of like throw all the liquors in there, throw some sweet and sour and a splash of Coke on top, and are like, here, go away.
Yeah.
But this bar like handcrafted this cocktail, and it was delicious.
That sounds so, and it makes such a big difference if they use fresh lemon.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Maybe I'll make one. I have all the
Yeah.
Let's make
ingredients.
those.
I can't pick
I
one.
have all the ingredients here.
Let's do it.
I like cocktails like my favorite thing. Like I just love so many different. I'm like, oh man, there's the possibilities are endless and there's such great variety. And like I don't want to pick just one
Right?
because there's a lot.
It's okay. What's good drinks is gonna happen.
Yeah.
What's good
What about
drinks?
you, Andrea? Did you answer?
Yeah.
So it's tough because I bartended for so long. So having like a single cocktail it's hard for me to single, especially now because I'm like you, Britt. I don't drink a lot of cocktails anymore. But I am a sucker for a really good apple martini.
Really?
Huh,
I
wouldn't
know,
expect that on you.
surprising, right?
Yeah.
I don't
So
know if I've
me
ever had
and
one.
me and my BFF Diana, who lives in Sydney, which is why I was there drinking along
Yup.
Island.
Checks out.
It's our like ritual to drink apple teenies together because that's how we met in college. Like way back when I first started drinking with my fake ID. We all like
Boy.
those really sugary things that make us not recognize the taste of alcohol. But now I like really enjoy the flavor of spirits, which I didn't back then. But if I get a apple martini made the proper way,
You
delicious.
have to
I gotta
introduce
say-
me. I've never had one.
I will make
We
you
can
one.
add the apple martini to your list of failures that we have to correct.
Whoa.
Yes, please. Fix my life.
Failures.
Hocus pocus apple martinis.
Fix my life, Alexa.
We
right
got
now.
it.
I'm really
We got
looking
you,
forward
girl.
to
We
this
got you.
candy
We got
corn
you.
martini
Yes.
that we're
God,
doing later.
It's gonna be excellent.
This beautiful abomination brewing in the kitchen right now. I can't wait.
Okay, this one is from Adam407. Says, do you think we'll ever get a Final Fantasy game that returns to the turn-based gameplay style? And would you want to see that happen? Also, do you think we'll ever get another console Final Fantasy Tactics?
No, yes, no. In order. No, we'll never get another turn-based one because they're definitely moving away from that for the mainline series. They want Final Fantasy to appeal to more people.
Me. They wanted to appeal
want
to
to appeal
me.
to people like Andrea. It hasn't worked yet.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
They're adding more baby ass baby modes.
Baby ass baby
Baby
modes.
modes.
People like real time combat is like all the thing now. So I don't think we'll get another turn-based mainline one. But we are seeing turn-based ish in games like Lost Sphere.
Tokyo
which
RPG
was-
Factory
yeah,
is
Tokyo
making
RPG
a lot
Factory.
of old school. Yeah.
Yeah, like Lost Sphere, I Am Setsuna. I don't think we'll ever get another Final Fantasy Tactics. I think they've left Ivalice far behind. They really want to focus on making new stuff. I don't think they'd return to the past unless you fans can pull what happened with the Final Fantasy VII remake, because the only reason they're doing it is because all you whiners whined. So maybe if we whine loud enough, we will also get our way.
Keep whining,
That
everybody.
is a call to action. Keep whining.
Keep whining in.
Call to action.
I
was a
like
quick
this
answer.
one. At Snarky Starkey asks, what are your favorite What's Good game memories so far from the first few months?
Ooh.
We've done a lot of stuff.
I know. I'm trying to like think
in
of the
these
past
first
about 4 or 5
21
months.
weeks of making content together.
Oh,
I'll be
man.
the cheesy one and just say like basically the first meeting, like the,
Yeah,
the
WGG
first like
Con.
conception, and like we're all hanging out and we're like, is this thing gonna work? Can we do this? And we're like, totally, we got this right before E3. It's fine.
Yeah, I think knowing what we were going to launch and having to keep it a secret, and it was like our like little secret, that was really fun. And launch day 2 was just extremely exciting, and I think it blew all of us like out of the water and into the wall and into a million pieces.
Oh no.
Because I remember before Alexa and I, we were all messaging, but I think I told Alexa like I had the nervous poops.
The nervous poop.
The nervous poops. And then we launched, and just to see all of the support from all of our friends and colleagues, it was just mind blowing. That was really
that was a great
exciting.
day.
Yeah.
It was a really, really excellent day. And I could think of so many things that we've done, like in the public, like whether it be our amazing stage time at E3,
Yes.
the custom drink we made, our party at PAX with Square, being able to guest appear on a bunch of other people's shows and talk about our show. But really the times that are the best or the most memorable to me are when we're just here at my house, like not working and just hanging out.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, oh yeah, I get to work with my friends, and that's really fucking cool. So I'm not gonna get all misty eyed. But I love this question. But I just love hanging out with you ladies so much.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
know.
glad we
Me
get to do this
too.
together.
Fun.
Okay. All right, let's do another question. This one's kind of funny. Justin Cliff Hay? If you turned into a zombie, who would you eat first and why?
Okay.
We were discussing this. We saw this question.
You were discussing it? Okay.
Slightly. So I would eat Steimer first because she
Yes.
probably has a nice salty taste.
Yeah.
I
You'd
was
probably
preparing
taste the
that.
best. You would probably be the healthiest option.
Oh, thanks.
That's probably true.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah.
Why do you
Yeah.
think that is, though?
That you'd be the healthiest because you like
super.
you like doing stuff.
super
You like
healthy.
work out right now.
I do a lot of push-ups, ladies and gentlemen.
Whereas I've not. I've just been driving back and forth LA.
Yeah.
Like
I'm thinking
You know,
about
I-
working out.
Island food. I'm not.
Do we have
good.
to pick each other?
Yeah.
Well, who else would we pick?
because we're probably let's face it, if the zombie apocalypse goes down, we're all gonna be near each other.
That's true.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
But if you're a zombie, you don't know who you're gonna eat. Don't
That's
don't
kinda
don't put me
true.
down this rabbit hole. We'll be here all night.
It's true.
I could go on and on and on
You
about.
can't
this
be
kinda
tired
shit.
if you're dead.
Zombie.
I would probably eat Steimer first because she's the smallest, so it would take the least amount of time.
I would be a fast munch.
Yeah. Oh
But-
my gosh.
Yes,
Oh, yes,
a nice
yes.
snack. A nice snack.
Only if you can catch me. I might be small, but I'm quick.
You only have to be faster than the
Oh
slowest
my gosh.
person.
True.
Carl Peterson wants to know, which movies are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
Movies?
I'm so
What are
confused.
those?
Are movies coming out?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to Star Wars in
Oh,
December.
yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that's probably the
Um,
only one.
That sounds really cool. I actually am kind of into Thor Ragnarok, and like it looks like a hot, like colorful mess in the trailers, and I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
And of course, Chris Hemsworth.
We-
You guys should check out our Patreon exclusive video.
It was a secret segment.
Was it secret segment for
Yeah.
September? If
Yeah.
you guys are secret patrons, we may have talked about Thor in that video.
in some different lights.
And not
I'm only really into
good
seeing
ways.
scary movies in theaters. Like, I'll see Star Wars because how could you not? But if there's a scary movie coming out, like little dead girls trying to kill people, I'm all about that.
Little dead girls trying to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
My least favorite kind of movie.
They're so good. I'm gonna take you one of these days. Just get really drunk beforehand, and it works so well because the shit goes down on the screen, but then you're so drunk that it takes like a millisecond to like register what happened, and then you can prepare yourself, and then you react.
The problem is
Yeah.
not watching the movie. The problem is never watching the movie. The problem is what happens to me after the movie
your
is
mind
over.
goes 9 miles an hour.
Mm.
Yeah.
And how I can't sleep. And I live alone. Like, no, I'm not doing
Have you
anything.
tried
I'm gonna freak
reading
out.
or watching cartoons afterwards? Or playing a game afterwards?
Is it when the lights
don't
go
know.
out, your mind just?
It's not something that's like an immediate. It's like I will be thinking about it for like a month after.
Oh my god.
A month. That's intense.
Yeah, girl.
My brain
like a
latches
lockbox.
onto things and then just plays them over and over.
We're gonna break you of that.
Jeez.
Alexa, any movies? No?
No.
Okay. I have another question here. And I was thinking about not asking this, but considering that every week on this podcast, we talk about mental health and we are big fans and partners with takethis.org. I think this is an important question. And at Bart Jacasa wants to know, what helps you go through times when you're feeling down?
So something
Sleep
that
is good.
sleep is but I've told you about what I do or what I started doing this past year. And that is whenever I'm feeling upset or down or whatever, anything about life, I immediately go and I write down the list of everything that I'm grateful for in my life.
That's a great idea.
Because it just really puts things back into perspective. Because it's so easy to just like go down that mental rabbit hole of everything sucks. But in reality, like probably not everything does. There may be a few use cases where like, yeah, maybe everything in your life does suck. But there's got to be something that you are happy with and grateful for. And if you just try and focus more on those things, I think ultimately it creates more happiness in your life.
So I have a ritual. I work out, and then I
Get
order
those endorphins going.
Yeah, that's it. Like without fail, it's like everything is bad. Goodbye forever. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go work out, and I go work out for an hour, and then stop it, hair, get out of the way. And and then my ritual is to order a food that I really like that I haven't had in a while, like junk food. So like, I'll like order from Pachi's Pizza or like get Cheesecake Factory, and then I sit by myself and I eat it while I read a book, and then as soon as I'm done, I just like light all my weirdo scented candles and just go to bed and be like, I did a nice thing for myself.
Wait,
and
do you
I'm,
light
Oh,
your
you blow
candles
the
and then go to
candles up
bed?
before
I
you
do.
go to
No,
bed.
no,
Okay.
no, I do. But it's like, I
Okay.
Danger,
Okay,
danger.
we want to make sure. We want to make sure.
No,
No,
I
one set
do.
yourself on fire.
But my reasoning is like, I did a nice thing for myself, and now my day is over, and I've put it to bed, and I'm going to bed, and tomorrow's a totally new day. So that's my ritual.
For me, I would say I'm very lucky in the sense that the worst that I get is maybe I'm just a little stressed out. But, that's not good and that's not healthy. Stress is not good for you. So I'm really good about listening to what I need. So if I'm feeling like I just need to be around like warm fuzzies, I'll go hang out with my parents for a couple hours, and just being around them and getting that like nurturing love for me really helps me. Or I'll just go bring my 3DS and play like Story of Seasons in the bathtub. Like Story of Seasons is my go-to relaxation game. Or maybe I need to just get out of the house, get away from tech, and go rent a little podunk hotel and bring the Super Nintendo with me. So it's something like that. It's more for me, I need to disconnect more often than not. Just step away from everything.
Yeah, for me, yoga has really changed my life in a stress balancing way. And I was one of those people that was like, yoga is for hippies. Who does yoga? Hipsters, whatever. Like, I was very anti because I didn't understand it. And then my friend Tegan took me to a class in LA, and it's like the heavens opened, and I was like, okay, I get it. After one class, and it was hard. I had to take 7 breaks where I like stood to the side of the class and was like, I don't care if everyone thinks that I'm like terrible, whatever, but you just got to get through it. And then like the next time you go, you get stronger and you get stronger, and then you start to really develop your practice. And it's such a nice checkout, because when you are there and you're in the moment and you're on the mat, all you can think about is your breath and thinking about the pose and what you're doing, because you have to concentrate, and that concentration allows you to kind of clear your mind in a very meditative way. And for anyone who's ever been curious about it or wanted to learn about it, I highly recommend it. I can't recommend it enough for stress relief and for just overall physical fitness. And it's good for your organs, it's good for your blood, it's good for your muscles, and there's a reason why it's like the oldest form of exercise, right?
Yeah.
So that for me is what I do when I'm feeling down.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of Bikram, which is the hot yoga.
Just sweat it out.
Because because as you were mentioning, like that really forces you to focus on your breath and what you're doing, because it's a hot room.
Yeah.
And so if you let your mind wander, like
because your heart
it's
rate
really hard.
elevates trying to keep your internal temperature cool.
Right.
So, which is why you get a aerobic workout from just really standing still, which is kind of crazy to think about, but yeah, it's intense. Love Bikram. All right, we only have time for a couple more here. Let's see. I found it.
Inspector.
Oh, there's a Halloween one that we answered in our video for this month. Our Patreon exclusive video.
Alexa, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
How do you feel about parades?
Oh yeah.
I hate parades.
Did you ask that on purpose because you know she hates parades?
Yeah, I was really curious why though, because she's very passionate about this, and I really want to know like.
You were like you were talking about parades, and I think
Mickey's Halloween party, Not So Scary Halloween Party has a parade, and it's a very happy, uplifting parade. But Alexa's like, "Wah!"
I hate parades. So when I was my family and I went to Disney World every other year when I was growing up until I was about like 18, and my dad fucking loves parades, like built our itineraries around every parade. Dad, I hope you're watching this.
Oh, God.
And he built our itinerary around all the parades because he loves parades. So I was made to sit there and watch all these parades. And you've probably figured out by now that I'm a very hyperactive person. So I had too much energy. And the last thing I wanted to do was sit there and watch people carry shit down the street. Like, I don't want to watch parades. So that's why I hate parades. I just hate parades.
Listeners, let us
My
know how you
favorite
feel
thing
about parades.
is the description of people carrying shit down the street.
That's what a parade is.
But what's funny is I'm like, oh, that is what it
Or
is.
it's people riding in cars or on
Yeah,
floats or playing instruments or dancing.
But it's still shit going down the street. I can't do that by myself.
Well, I mean, you can, especially the Disney parades, like the electric parade at Disney.
It's fine.
What?
I love the water shows. The water shows are super duper cool. But parades just I just don't like
Not
braids.
into it. All right, that's fair.
Oh my gosh. All right,
love
one
it.
final
Love it.
question.
I love you, Alexa.
Oh my god.
I like this one. At Evan1177 asks, you're on a desert island. You can only have one type of sandwich for the rest of your life. What type of sandwich do you choose?
I'm not a sandwich person. Can I buffalo chicken sandwich?
I was about to say,
Yeah.
are you joking? You would love a buffalo chicken sandwich.
That's it, though, man. I'm not like a fan of the tomatoes, the lettuces, of the mayos.
You don't have to have any of
the
that.
lettuces.
What about PB&J?
That's good. You know, that's actually a really good idea.
Last time when you were at my house, you ate like
I do
7
like-
PB&Js.
I do love a good.
Whoa.
Was it really?
It was a
It
lot
was
of
a lot.
It
PB.
was like 2.5.
That loaf of bread disappeared in 2 days.
That was also
between you and
I was
Steimer.
also eating the
That was
PB&Js.
great bread. But I think I would go crazy if I couldn't get like my salt and spicy mix for the rest of my life.
But that's why the buffalo chicken would be good for you.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Oh,
PB&J
yeah,
is a
okay.
good contender because I've eaten that since I was little.
Yeah.
But
I'm thinking like Italian sub.
I was thinking like a chicken parm sandwich.
See, I'm thinking like
breakfast sandwich.
salami.
Ooh.
Ooh, egg and bacon.
Egg and bacon for the rest of your life on like a croissant
Oh, what about a biscuit?
or a biscuit.
Biscuit.
If I'm
Damn
stuck on a
it.
desert island. I'm eating, and no one's ever gonna get me. I don't care how many biscuits I freaking eat. Let's do it.
That's why I would go for the Italian because it's got the salami, the coppola, the ham, the provolone.
No one cares if you're dried out and filled with sodium. It's totally fine.
It's true.
No one's there.
we'll probably all be able to float off with our bloat.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that,
we're gonna-
that's the escape plan. You get so bloated, you float off the island.
That's amazing.
And you float
That's
home.
not really
You
how
become
that
part- you
works.
become one
because
with
all
the
of that
sea.
salt in your system would eventually like make you. The reason why it bloats
would
you
just
is
die.
because your body thinks you're losing water, and so it's trying to retain as much water as
Look,
it can.
let's not get into the semantics of physics here and the biologies. We're stuck
We're
on
on a desert island with one
Do
sandwich.
those still exist? Like it's 2017.
Yes,
Don't
of
we
course
know where
they
all
do.
the islands are?
No,
Yeah,
oh,
haven't we found all the
just
islands?
because we know where they are on a map or on a
mean that
radar
we know if
doesn't
anybody's
mean that
there.
they have connection to the outside
Sure, sure,
world.
sure.
Anyway,
So then where do these
Samurai
sandwiches come
Mine's,
from?
mine's between.
see now we're ruining we're not suspending the disbelief. That's what I wanted to say here. Suspend
I'm
the disbelief.
leaning
I have a
toward
very big
buffalo
problem with this.
chicken or chicken parm sandwich.
Get chicken parm. Maybe we can meet up.
Okay.
And like swap
That's
sandwiches.
not the way that. No, that's not the way that.
No,
works.
no, you don't.
Okay,
You don't
You're
get
on a
swap
desert
sandwiches.
island,
We're
which
gonna
means
yes
you're
and
alone.
this.
You're alone.
You're alone. We're not together.
Courier pigeon.
Yes, we're gonna train pigeons.
Send you, or whatever
to
that
send
bird's name
half
is.
of it,
Raven.
like,
You send it with a
split
raven.
sandwich. Split like I send you half, you
Yeah,
send me
perfect.
half.
See, we got this figured out. We're gonna survive. You guys enjoy your little bland sandwiches. for the rest of
Listeners
your life.
and viewers
Breakfast
of What's Good
sandwiches.
Games, thank you for your questions.
Breakfast every time.
We appreciate it.
My
We
breakfast
should maybe do
island.
these more often. They're fun.
Yeah.
Actually, we do them once a month. It's called the Happy Hour Q&A. If you are interested in asking us questions like this, but imagine us with cocktails, you should join our Patreon at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames for just $1 a month. Not even the price of a coffee.
Or a breakfast sandwich.
I mean, you can't even get a Diet Coke in a gas station for $1 anymore these days. You guys can become a patron of What's Good Games, get access to exclusive videos, photos, community threads, funny, ridiculous comments, and you get to meet some of our other patrons who are awesome, lovely people. And of course, you get that once a month exclusive stream just for you guys, and you get an exclusive video, which tend to be pretty entertaining. So head on over there, check us out. If you like what we do and you want to help support us, we would greatly appreciate any support you could throw our way. So thank you so much for being a fan and liking what we do. That's going to be it for us for this week. We will be back in force next week doing a regular show. Hopefully some cool stuff will happen and we're going to talk about it. Until then, have a great weekend.